So for UNet model, as we have discussed, first we have a convolutional layer, a 2D convolution. Because we are using RGB as input in our case, it's going to take 3 input channels and it's going to output 64 channels, and the kernel we are using is of size 3. And here we are padding it so that it doesn't get a layer of zeros are added to the borders of the image, so that the input image size and the output image size are the same after the convolution. So you do another convolution maintaining the input and output channels to be the same, and then you're max pooling it to downsample the image. So this is how you do it. You do this similarly until you get 1024 channels, and after that you go for downsampling. So you write layers that this is how you downsample. The convolution layers for downsampling are max pools, and for upsamplings are the con-transpose layers. And we also need to add non-linearities, so we do that through ReLU as we've discussed. And because we've observed that in our data set there is significant variance, we are also going to do some normalization through group normalization. And for regularizing our training process, we are going to add a few dropouts as well. So this is how you first write the init, where you define the different layers like the convolutions, max poolings, and then in the forward pass you write about how the input gets processed. Like first you take the image, it goes through a convolution and then a group normalization, then it goes to a ReLU, similarly a convolution, normalization, ReLU, and the output is sent through a max pool, and then you have a dropout. So this is like the first block of the encoder. So after you've got all the encoding, you'll start, and you're also saving these encoder outputs because you need to concatenate them with the decoder input, so that you get the so that you're able to get the structural features for the network. So here you can see that after up convolution, you're concatenating it with the previous output. Similarly, you're doing it for all the modules. And finally, you're applying a sigmoid onto the input, and you are doing this because, as we've discussed before, your depth map is normalized, it's between 0 to 1. So you want your network to output something between 0 to 1, so you're using a sigmoid function over here so that your output remains between 0 to 1. Here we've defined a min-max scalar. So what this function just does is it subtracts your data from the minimum and divides it by the max minus minimum, which basically means it's normalizing your data. So now that we know about our data set, and we also know about the network that we are going to use, let's see how we are going to give input to our network. So here, when we've defined it, the input that is going into our network is an image, but the data set that we have is like a CSV file with multiple parts of the, okay, I'll show it to you again. So you know that you have a CSV file with RGB, depth and corresponding scene. So you have to process this in a way that your data set gives the corresponding RGB, corresponding depth map. So for that we write a data loader. So, and also when you're reading images, you're reading it through PIL over here, but since we'll be training our UNet on GPU, we need to convert it into tensors as well, PyTorch tensors. For that we need to use some transforms. And okay, so let's do this step by step. So we've defined some transforms for our RGB data, some transforms for our depth data, and a length function so that we understand the length of the data frame that we have. So here's the important part, like how do you get an image from this file that we have. So from the data frame that we have, we pick any index. As we've seen, if you take the 0th index, it has an RGB and a depth. So you have to read the RGB path. We combine the path of the RGB file and the base path where it is located. And also similarly, we do the same for the depth. So here, since we are reading the grayscale depth, it is between 0 to 255. So we have to normalize it. So here we are normalizing our depth image. And also we have to transform our RGB and depth image. So our RGB and depth images over here, as you can see, these are 640 cross 380 images. Just one second. I can show it to you again. So these are rectangular images, but we want to crop the center location and give it a square input, so that basically we are doing these things to make our training faster. So in order to do that, we just resize it to 264 cross 264. Although we want 256 cross 256, we are resizing it to a bigger size so that we have more information, and then we are center cropping it. After that, we are just converting it to a tensor, and so this is how we are doing it for depth. For RGB images, we are also normalizing it using ImageNet statistics. We are doing this so that the images are normalized well and we get better output. We improve upon accuracy because, and then we are just loading our. So this is how you will load one particular index from the CSV file based on the index that you're going to load an RGB and a depth image. After that, we are going to use data loaders of PyTorch, and we are going to use this because we don't want to, like, we can train it one image at a time, but because we have GPUs and we can train it in batches, we are using PyTorch data loader so that it loads this in batch sizes of 8. And it's going to shuffle our training data set as well. And now we need to set some parameters on which the training process is going to happen. So here we are just training for a very few epochs. Learning rate, we are setting it to 0.01. And we are also defining the device that we are using, that you use a GPU when you have it, otherwise use CPU for computations. So the loss function we are using over here is a combination of MSE loss and absolute mean loss. So you're just subtracting the predicted image from the true image and taking the mean of it. Similarly, for MSE loss, you're taking the mean squared of it, and we are taking a weighted sum of the loss. That is, we are taking 10 times depth and one time of MSE loss as the loss function. You can play around with these weights and see how your model improves. So now that you have your UNet model and you also have your data loader, let's initialize our model, and we have to send this model to our device so that all our variables are in the same device. All of them should be in GPU, or all of them should be in CPU when you are computing them. And the optimizer that we are using over here is Stochastic Gradient Descent, and we've given it a learning rate of 0.001 as we've mentioned here. And if at all we already have pre-trained weights present, then we are loading it into our model. If not, then we are again starting from scratch. This actually helps when you're running on multiple epochs and you want to have checkpoints, so that you don't start from scratch again, you start from that particular epoch. So that's why this dictionary is saving the epoch, the losses, the state of the optimizer. And then we have a training function. So in this training function, we are going to load the So first you have to set the model to train. So when you set the model to train, it means that all your weights are going to get updated, the gradients are going to get updated when you're training it. On the other contrary, if you put the model in eval, it does not update the weights. So we use that for inferencing purpose. So here for every index you pick the image and the label, which is basically the depth map, and enumerate over the data set. And because you have to take the images onto the GPU and then forward pass it through the model. So after you forward pass it through the model, you get a prediction. Now you want to find the loss of the predicted output with the actual output. Here we are just appending the loss so that we understand how the loss is changing. And for every 100 iterations, we are just printing the loss. And here we are also saving an image, which is the RGB, which is a combined image of RGB depth and the predicted depth, so that we can visualize on the fly. And because we are doing this in batches, you set the optimizer to 0 grad, you propagate the loss backwards, and you also increase the optimizer step size so that it converges. And so this is basically your train function. We have also we have a small function that finds out the elapsed time and minutes during the training process. And then we have a training loop where we are just running the training function through multiple epochs. So you're just training the model, saving it, and then resetting your CUDA, and that's pretty much your training process. So this is how the output looks like. I've previously ran it for 4 epochs. So as you can see, the training loss has reduced from 2.1 to 2 to 1.9 over epochs. So if you train for more epochs, the loss would be much lesser. And this is how you'll evaluate your model. Basically, you just set your model to eval, and you also you do not propagate any gradients, and then you just forward pass your inputs to get the outputs, and this is how you get a combined image which you can save. So these are the results that we got after 5 epochs. As you can see, since the bed is very closer, the depth map has black points closer to us, and on the right you see the predicted model, which also looks somewhat similar. I can show you some results after 250 epochs. You see that the predicted output and the real output are very close by. And these are some more results for a dining table and a bedroom scene. So this is how you will train your UNet and get some monocular depth from a UNet based method. You could use you could explore other architectures for depth estimation.